For years, Bankwest filled their ads with cute animated characters saving money. Now Bankwest has stepped into reality and it's the bank worst.
When you spend only 0.02% of your time doing bank things, you can spend 17.5% of your time with your best friend, 5.6% taking your stress out on strangers, 10% on the arts, 38% dwelling on that terrible thing you said to your coworker at the party, and 20% baking for your colleagues at work, especially Brenda.
What is happening? What terrible thing did you say to your co-worker at the party? Did you tell them you pash your dog? Is that Brenda? Bankwest has 1.2 million customers, and judging by their ads, they're all manipulative creeps. They stare at their co-workers with cold, dead eyes, while a cold, dead voiceover says creepy things like this.
24% on Debbie, who keeps talking over you in the chat group, and 8% on volunteering, because you feel guilty about what you want to do to Debbie.
Oh, Debbie be dead. Karen, why spend 10% of your life making this?
Okay, so when Bankwest went national, which was almost 20 years ago, they launched with this campaign called Happy Banking, which if you were around then, you might remember it was like a talking sunflower, there was a Shetland pony with a Shetland accent, very funny. But what it actually led to was Bankwest becoming Australia's most liked bank. And over time, as they've released more campaigns, that has degraded and Australians have forgotten about them. So everything they've released since then is to try and get some of that territory back. The insight in this is actually really simple. Like, Bankwest are an anti-bank. You know, you've got your neobanks in the marketplace who are fun and colourful but don't stand for anything. You've got your traditional banks like CommBank, which are like kind of like about safety and security or hustling for a dream. And this is a really simple insight in saying that most people just kind of want to earn some money so they can live their lives. This is a very American style of advertising. So if you kind of look at TV advertising of Australia versus the UK versus America, there's different scripted ways that we approach humour. And the difference is Americans like to point at someone and laugh, where Australians like to laugh about ourselves and be self-deprecating. And when you watch this, it's like you start off feeling pity for him and it just keeps getting worse. It's like the origin story of an incel, where by the end, when you see him like making something for Debbie, you know it's going to go bad, and instead of having a redemption moment, you just kind of feel like the next day he's going to like poison everyone in the coffee machine. So it just feels a bit mean-spirited, and Australians like to see themselves in ads and relate to it, but no one wants to relate to this guy. It's kind of nerd bashing.
I actually like it. So I think just to like it, I have to put aside that it is somewhat of a smokescreen. So they ran this campaign when they closed all their branches in Australia. And so this is sort of covering over that. I mean, they're really taking less bank is a better bank, literally. Possibly the worst campaign I ever made was for Westpac, was for a bank. And it was similar to this. The line we used was, "We're with you." And every time we ran that ad, it just generated such hate, that sort of gene that we all have, that bank bashing gene. And this is a similar strategy with a smarter execution. So they're using kind of quirkiness and weirdness as the sugar in the medicine. And they're not saying, like us, they're not saying we're your best friend or we're mates. They're saying, look, we get it. Yeah, you would rather do anything, including getting licked to death by your dog, than banking, and we'll help you with that.
Yeah. I love the fact that they've leaned into the insight, that it's like, we actually don't care about our banks. We give less than 10% of our headspace to them. So let's just embrace that truth fully and then kind of go all in on that kind of creepy execution. And I read something when it launched, because, you know, there's sort of industry press, so the VO, final voice, was actually an AI guide voice that they used just for rough, as in just to do the draft. So it wasn't actually meant to stay. And they kept it because they actually thought it added the right amount of creepy.
But here's the thing, when you look at that advertising, what are you going to keep? Because when you make advertising, you've got to be thinking, what am I going to keep out of this ad that I'm making? So the next storyline, the next chapter. So maybe, I mean, I really liked I'm a Creep. I thought that was really funny. But the best part...
Thanks. But when we made that joke, it was before I found out that this was a cover story for them shutting down banks and, people losing their jobs. And then I've just heard a story about the AI voiceover person losing their job. And this is I think we played Creep too early.